Hey there, and welcome to We Got a Podcast. A podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala. We cover it all. My name is Randy, and I think a new challenger has appeared, who is not Doug.
No, sorry. Well, slightly less handsome.
Oh, well, that's, well, that remains to be seen. Who are you? What's your name?
My name is Jake. Just stopping by, saying hi. I'm friends with y'all, friends with the podcast, friends with Kanzenshu, and just stopping in.
Well, perfect. Ken, you got an introduction for yourself that is as
let's not be giving Kanzenshu a plug right off the bat, first of all. All right. that can come
Sorry,
later. No, I was kidding. Just kidding. I'm Ken.
Just Ken?
Yep. Just Ken. Right. I'm just Ken.
There we
go. That's Ken. Thank you.
We are the world's strongest under the heavens trio de dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Jake, you're new here to cover in for Doug, who is unfortunately a bit of a sick boy and has some other stuff on his plate. So we're giving him a break, and we called in the big guns. So show us your big guns.
They're not big.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to join. Thanks for asking me to hop on here.
Heck yeah.
Obviously, all my keys going out to Doug right now. He's having a bit of a tough week. But when I heard that AF was on the table and you needed someone to fill in, what can I say?
You're the man to go to.
Yeah,
that's
Can't
good to
resist the Jijii pull.
Mm-hmm. No. So what have you been up to? Tell us about you and what you've been up to lately.
I'm the kind of person where my hobbies are just kind of all over the place. But I did go see Deadpool. Yeah. I won't say a word.
Okay.
I liked it. Other than it was good. So
heck yeah.
But yeah, on the gaming side, I recently emulated successfully Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS.
Oh,
so I got
boy.
to play that with mouse and keyboard, which is very strange. That is, I don't know if either of you two have played that on the original hardware or anything like
Just
that.
the demo.
Yeah.
Do you happen to remember the like you have to use the stylus kind of thing to aim and look?
I use the little pad on the strap for the thumb thing to be like, oh, it's like an analog stick. It's not. But
Yeah, it's not.
they tried it. I mean, they tried, and I like that. How was it, the full game?
Oh man, so the DS emulator is pretty cool because it has its built-in function where you can just up-res 3D rendered models and stuff. So that game suddenly looks super crisp on like a 2K display. So that, and I was running this little like fun little software thing that had to translate stylus movements into mouse and stuff. It took like a whole bunch of time to set up, but it was worth it.
I mean, that's kind of what emulating is like. You spend 5 hours to set something up, and then you play it for 20 minutes. Be like, yeah, man, that was pretty good. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, it was like that and Rhythm Heaven, and I was like, that was quite a night. And yeah, so yeah,
there you go. Awesome. Ken, we've got an outline here, and you just got letters, so you're trying to be secretive. Yeah. Tell us what you've been up to.
I finished my rewatch of Frasier, and I can now scientifically and officially and objectively say that Cheers is in fact better.
Oh.
Sorry, no. I hate to break it to you. When Niles and Daphne finally get together, that show becomes middling to bad. Oh, no. All of the worst episodes of Frasier are in those last 4 seasons. There are still some great ones, but it turns into a middling show with like literally just the worst episodes of the whole thing.
That's a bummer.
Other than that, it's still a great show. I'm now gone straight from the ending of the old Frasier into Shin Frasier. So I'm now did a 20-year skip into the new stuff. And so I'm rewatching that new stuff because the new season's September 19th. Randy, get ready.
Oh,
it's coming up before you know it. And then we're going to have to do a separate Frasier podcast. It's going to be a whole thing. I'm still watching G Gundam, so we're going to have at least one more episode of We Got a Chance, the little segment podcast from the podcast. So I am in the part of the Hong Kong tournament in which he is fighting the 4 other members of the Shuffle Alliance. and I'm on the last one of that, so he's about to fight Argo.
All right. Wow. Yeah, you're closing in there.
Yeah.
So,
And
what do you think about best girl Alan B. Beardsley?
She's fine. She's got, the will of B in the show, and so that makes her special. So, a little One Piece humor for you there. If you're not aware. If you're not reading the most iconic series of all time, One Piece.
I'm watching the Netflix show, so I'll be okay eventually.
Oh, yikes. Well, eventually. Yeah, I don't know about it. It's good. I think there was a magic to the first half of the show, even though it was weird because I didn't like Domon in that first half, and I like him a lot more now. But it's just like a tournament, and whenever there's a tournament going on, I just like lose interest in a show. Like I always think back to Yu Yu Hakusho when the Dark Tournament, like that is such like a sore spot for me with that series. People seem to love the Dark Tournament. I think it is like, ugh. Give me the Chapter Black. That's where that show succeeds for me.
Absolutely. Not that I dislike Dark Tournament. I just think that by the time we get through like the third thing, it's like, okay, are we done yet? Like we just keep going, introducing new teams. Can we be over now? So I feel you there with tournaments.
More or less how I feel about that part of G Gundam that you're in. I love G Gundam, but that can be a little bit of a drag. Yeah.
And
sorry for the audio listeners. I was pointing to my my box set of G Gundam.
And I bought Mario Maker 2 for the Switch. It was half off, and I'm like, hell yeah. I played the first one on Wii U, and so whenever they've been doing these like let's re-release the game for the Switch, I'm always like holding out. I don't want to do it. Took me forever to buy Mario Kart. Took me forever to buy Splatoon. I think even just 2 at that point, because these are just like doing the experience I've already had again. Having said that, Mario Maker 2 might possibly be the greatest 2D Mario game of all time in its story mode alone. Just the inventiveness of all the different levels, the way that they're puzzles or like speed challenges, or do you have the dexterity to pull off jumping on a spiny thing that like slowly moves position, but if you miss it even once, you die? So that's really fun and inventive, and it's great. I love Mario Maker 2. Even just for like forgetting, I haven't really touched the online stuff at all, or the Maker stuff. I'm just playing the story mode, and it's an incredible experience.
That's awesome. I look forward to when you pick up Splatoon 3 on a half discount, because I pre-purchased it and then they had that demo out for like a weekend, and you and I played like 8 hours one day.
Yeah, we did.
And it was great. And I was like, I'm picking this up. It's going to be a good time. I have not launched that game at all. And I feel so bad because I was like, I'm going to wait till Ken plays. And then it didn't happen.
We don't have a record of this, of me saying this, but I'm pretty sure I told you I was not going to get the game right away.
Yeah, eventually. Well, I said, let me buy it for you so we can make this happen if it's a money thing. And you're like, no, don't. I'm not going to get to it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to be sad over here.
So you knew.
I did. I made my bed and now I don't launch it. That's how it goes.
So what have you been up to? What have you been launching?
Oh, what have I been launching indeed? My life has been all consumed since, what was it, June 13th, when all of the Kingdom Hearts games came out on Steam. And like a rube, like an addict, I bought them all over again, some of them for like probably the 7th time. And been doing that. I did the math like a week ago, and I was at 177 hours in the past like 5 weeks. And now I'm probably close to like 200. Yesterday, I beat Kingdom Hearts 3. Today, I beat the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. So I might actually start another run because I played on Proud difficulty. And then I was like, how do I unlock this Oblivion Keyblade? And they're like, oh, you got to clear it on critical difficulty. I'm like, well, start again.
Randy, what I think would work for you is to get into the Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer community. I feel like that's where you'll thrive.
I'm scared about that because like it's unknown, and I like to feel comfy. I like to feel cozy. I know what's coming around the corner. It's going to be great.
But that's because you know the game so well. That's why it would be perfect for you.
That's true. I could do that. I don't have any experience doing randomizers. But you enjoy them? Because I think you played like an Ocarina of Time one once.
Yeah. Ocarina of Time randomizer is like one of the best things ever. It just totally changes that game.
And can you ever like soft lock yourself? It's like, well, actually, I got to this point and I need this thing, but I didn't get it, so I guess I just can't proceed.
Jake, you look like you were about to say.
I was just like, yeah. Usually, randomizers are at least semi nicely programmed to not soft lock on you. There's routines that are like they just make sure you can't get a random set of sequenced events that yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll look into that after I redo Kingdom Hearts 3 just for funsies. They make it easy. They give you these cheats where you can be like, everything dies in one hit except bosses. So I'm like, oh, I'll just probably do that. And, blow through it. So that way, in the future, I can just do New Game Plus and then carry everything over. And I'm set to go, baby. I don't have to do all that work again at all. But enough talking about Kingdom Hearts 3, even though I could do a whole podcast about Kingdom Hearts. And I want to. We're normally going to talk about Dragon Ball AF here, but we don't want to save this to the end. We got a big surprise. We talked to Doug. He said this is okay for us to announce and make it official. But never mind. You know what? I just read the rest of the thing. Ken, I'm so sorry.
I think you just teased it even more. So now people really got to get to the end and find out. What could Doug possibly be okay with? Watch to the end and we'll find out together.
I suppose. So my apologies. You know what? This is a podcast. It's pre-recorded. You could skip ahead. You could just skip ahead to the end and then come back. That's okay. Just remember where you left off. Do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. But we are going to talk about Daddy Young Jijii's Dragon Ball AF. Man, segues are just not my strong suit, are they? Anyway, we're going to talk about some more of this.
I would not have thought of Young Jijii as daddy, but sure.
I mean,
let's go with that.
You're young.
Some
daddy.
dads, yeah. Some dads are youthful, So I'm going to stop digging the hole. So, Young Jijii's Dragon Ball AF is a fan manga. Ken, you usually give the whole lowdown about what this thing is. So, bless us with that.
1999, 2 years after Dragon Ball GT ended, a guy named David Montiel Franco comes along in Hobby Consolas magazine, and he submits the image of Tablos, this red, silver fur hair guy with a little logo that says Dragon Ball AF on it. Well, everyone ran with that idea, thinking that this was Goku instead. And in, 2006, 2007, somewhere, Toyble comes along. Toyble, of course, is Toyotaro. He has his own series. Well, he has his own series.
We can't be sure.
Then, after that, Jijii comes along and he does his own take on AF. And there have been other incarnations of AF along the way. We have already covered the Toyotaro one, which is not up on this YouTube yet, but you can go find it on Spotify or discussion of it. And we are now on the 4th episode of covering Young Jijii's version of Dragon Ball AF.
Excellent. Well put, Ken. Always great. You know the dates, you know the people, you know the places, you know the magazines. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you and your beautiful brain. So now we're going to recap what's happened so far. So if this is your first time tuning in, you kind of know what's going on here with Dragon Ball AF. So 3 years have passed since Son Goku disappeared after saving the Earth from the evil dragons. Since then, the Earth has been threatened and defended against Aiz, Frieza's son, a couple kooks from the demon realm whose names I forgot, and now the super evil dragons. Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks, Goten, and Oob have trained hard and now fight valiantly against these new powered-up dragons in order to cleanse them of their negative energy and use the balls once again to revive a fallen pawn. With only 2 dragons left, will the AF fighters prevail? Will the sleeping Son Goku awaken in time to join the battle? Let's find out today on Dragon Ball AF. What were those guys' names from the demon realm in between the training arc?
Marble and Chiyoko.
There we go. Thank you. I wrote this morning and I was like, I'll get to it later. I'll share it. Maybe Ken will look it over and he'll edit it, but I didn't specifically call him out. So that's on me being bad at this. So big picture temperature check. How are we feeling about this? Jake, you're new on the block. You get to set the mood. What is this arc like?
Seems familiar. Not everything is exactly like, Dragon Ball GT, whatever that show is. But honestly, temperature ask is a difficult kind of question for me, because there were plenty of times that I'm sitting here rolling my eyes, but every so often there's a little bit of creativity that shines through, and it kind of takes me off guard. And that kind of just happens for volume after volume after volume. And I'm glad I took notes, because I honestly think a lot of it would have kind of blended together for me. I don't know about you guys.
Definitely, because I took notes for the first couple of volumes as I was sitting at a desk reading, and then I read the rest on a bus, and I didn't have the ability to quickly type or whatever, take my notes. So I was like, what did happen those last bits? So I was just skimming through real quick. I'm like, okay, it's like 3 things happened in those last 4 volumes. It's just a lot of fighting, but that's just me. Ken, what's your temperature on this?
I have spent all of the last episodes in which we have read some sort of fan manga, trying desperately to enjoy them. And it worked again. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Dang, I was waiting for a heel turn from Ken to suddenly be like, you know what? I hate all of Dragon Ball because of this.
It's not without its issues, of course, like everything Young Jijii has done with this series of his. But yeah, like Jake said, there's some stuff that surprised me. Some stuff in which we harped on Jijii last time of you introduced this concept and then you didn't follow up on it. But that's because he was playing the chess battle of he was waiting to get to it in these chapters. So kudos where kudos are due. I had a good time reading this. It's he has some impressive art in here, some impressive structuring. Of course, he does follow up with his usual tracings, which we'll get to. There's some really we have said the word egregious in reference to Young Jijii's tracings before, but these are the most egregious egregiousisms that he's ever done.
That's very fair. Besides things blending together for me, I did a lot of just skimming pages. I'm like, all right, we're just going to be trading blows for a bit and nothing really exciting is going to happen. But the bigger problem is that I read something else recently, and it kind of colored how I have been enjoying other things. So Ken joined me as a guest on the Tomes of Evil podcast, which I'm not sure when that episode will be out, but you and I were on there. We reread, or at least some of a bit of it, the Moro arc of Dragon Ball Super of the manga, and did an episode on that. So I was fresh from reading, some Toyotaro stuff, some peak Dragon Ball Super. And then I opened this and I was like, you know what? Actually, it's not bad. I'm not against it. It's sure, I paged through it a bit quickly, but you know what? What I did read, I did enjoy. It wasn't as well constructed or anything like that, but you know what? It was made with love. And Ken, like you said, besides the egregious-isms, I don't think I had a single complaint about any specific panel or a bit of art in this one where I was like, okay, that looks real wonky and wrong, and that's really taken me out of it. So I feel, despite being like, well, I'm going to lift these things from the actual manga, the Young Jijii's art is, kicking butt. So I don't have any problems with
I kind of wanted to know how you guys felt about that too, because a lot of these things, I tried to make a note every single time I caught a reference, and it was pretty often, but I never felt like this was just a poor reconstruction. I could tell there was a lot of effort put into how he was illustrating everything. And for a lot of the huge splash pages too, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't recognize, and I thought it was genuinely good. He definitely has a style that stands out from Toyotaro. He definitely is that kind of late 90s leaning Toriyama or Nakatsuru. So yeah, it was weird because it was such a roller coaster for a majority of my read through. I was really just not impressed, and then by the end of it, I think I had just been swayed back into man, this guy really did just do all of that. Even though
Right?
it wasn't like creatively the most exciting thing to read, it was still impressive. So,
Oh, yeah. The actual effort put into it is crazy impressive. Something that I don't think I would ever be able to do is sit down and draw that many pages. But I also don't know what the timeline for like release for this was. I know that at some point in this, we had stuff that was like Resurrection F, and I know that we had Battle of God stuff in our last chunk.
yeah.
That's actually some stuff I was thinking here, in which it seems like they ran out of wishes. And so I was like, well, he could have used the Frieza wish. Was that not, did we not hit that yet? Was he not willing to incorporate Resurrection F into his canon?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Did I miss the part where they had to clarify like why, like what each dragon correlated with which by like the third dragon, whoever it was that asked them, they were like, by the way, which wish are you? And then they would say it and be like, okay, let's fight. Like I thought I was like, wait, is there a reason why they're doing this, or is it just for us?
It's for us, and because they did it in GT a good number of times, but it wasn't exactly 100% consistent.
My memory's fuzzy on whether or not that mattered either.
No, because it doesn't really color their personalities or their abilities or anything. It's just kind of, here's some fun flavor as far as I can tell.
Because off the top, you guys watched it way more recently than I did. I think it's been 4 or 5 years since I watched GT, but
you didn't suffer with us through our review? Come on, man.
No, sorry.
Okay.
I watched you guys suffering trying to review it. But
that's just as bad. So yeah, that's good.
I off the top of my head, my memory was that it was just the dragons just kind of saying it whether or not they were asked, which is fine for me as flavor of just kind of like getting that stuff out there. But I thought it was funny that basically every time it was the good guys doing the asking, and I don't know if I missed something like a detail as to why.
I think they were all asked in GT. Except for 2 of them. And I think definitely Yi Xinglong was not asked, because that's like a bit of trivia that it's only in the Perfect Files and the Xenoverse games. And then I think it was San Xinglong was not asked, but you can find that information in like a multitude of places, just not in the actual series. So it's only those 2 in the anime. And then here in AF, it's only one guy that they have to go back and fill in the back pages. So you guys want to go ahead and just jump into the story proper?
Let's do it. I like that idea. So we did volumes 12 through 17. Did we start at the beginning of volume 12, Ken, or is this a halfway point?
We started at the beginning this time.
Okay,
Which is a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. So my notes here are probably not as in-depth as others. I think I have 3 points to bring up from volume 12. And before we started, Jake, you had showed us your notebook full of things, which I was very impressed with. There we go.
There's a lot of thoughts, not all of them full sentences.
Right? Because, I would be like, oh, I recognize that as a reference to this, or like, that's a reference to something, and I don't remember what page, and I just keep going. I got stuff to do. I got to get through this on this bus ride. So I wasn't able to take as diligent a notes. Ken, what are your notes like? I know you always like to flash your iPad.
Yeah, so we'll start here. This is volume 12, and then we'll just kind of keep going. Whoa. And then...
Dang.
Oh, hell yeah.
That went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I'm sure that's not impressing the audio listeners, but...
well, still.
Just imagine the walls of text.
Endless scrolling, as far as the eye could
as fast as I could too, and it took that long.
So my first thing here is that we learn that Super Saiyan 5 has another drawback besides being rough on the body. It's a burden on the brain, and we're not really given any more explanation other than like it hurts your brain. You can only do it for 10 minutes.
Well, they brought this up last time. This was a whole part of the emotional control training, was that it was both dangerous for the person training and for the Elder Kaioshin. So this is what I was talking about him planting that seed, and we complained about it last time with that, like, oh, the transformation went off without a hitch. this, that, or the other. There was no consequences to using Super Saiyan 5. And then Young Jijii said, hold up, playa. Check this out. And uses it here.
So I have in my notes, it's not until about volume 15 when they bring up the whole emotional chart for all the Super Saiyan forms. I don't know if we want to get into that now, because I don't think it's mentioned again until Goku starts to get in there. But what did you guys think of that? Because that was like
I thought it was an interesting concept, but I felt like, well, this is going to go off the rails real fast. When it's like, all right, it's all about emotions. Super Saiyan 1 was achieved via rage. Super Saiyan 2, also rage. Super Saiyan 3, though, I'm like, okay, so it's the same. We're not really going to build anything on top of that. I mean, we only saw Gohan's, so we could have been like, I don't know, it was, desperation or something, There's a lot of motivating things going on for Gohan there. Ken, what are you thinking?
Guidebook lore tells us that Goku and Vegeta both get Super Saiyan 2 just through regular training. So there's no rage component there. But Young Jijii is working by his own rules. So I'm going to let that one pass. That he didn't read the Daizenshu. That's okay. I'll let that go.
He's just going off of what Toriyama put on the page.
So, right. Yeah. What was the emotion for 3? Was it
pleasure?
Yeah, I wrote that one down in all caps.
I wrote down pleasure. I definitely had an eyebrow raise, which is wild because I can't do that. I read that. Was 4 sorrow or loss? Sorrow. Okay. And then 5, not rage, I guess. Again, it's something else, 5, right?
The trigger is all 4. So you're like, well, hold on, Ken. You just said all 4. We've only been talking about 3. Well, that's yes, because there's also joy, which is just, I guess, base state and not related to pleasure at all.
all those Saiyans just so joyful, just jolly.
So my guess here with the whole pleasure thing is that we're missing something in translation. Like maybe it's some obscure Japanese, there's no translation for Schadenfreude. It's just like, that's just a word that has to be, right? So maybe it's something like that, mistranslation. And maybe they're going from the panel of Goku before they hit the Tenkaichi Budokai, when they show everyone training and Goku's just like sitting there meditating, and then he smiles. And so then maybe that's where they're pulling that from. That's the only thing I can think for Super Saiyan 3.
That's a nugget right there. I wouldn't have thought of that.
I was figuring it was kind of like, the feeling of accomplishment when you've worked hard towards something and you achieve it. So Goku has been training, in the afterlife for 7 years, and he, gets this new power, and he's like, oh, you know what? I feel pretty good about that. And then his hair gets long and he loses his eyebrows. And he's like, well, that's pleasurable, I suppose. That's
so smooth.
That's all I thought about it. Yeah. But this, we get this new Chekhov's gun of like, it's a burden on the brain, and you can only really maintain this form for 10 minutes before it'll be bad for you.
Does it check out for Gohan's transformation? Him being the first one to achieve the 5th form.
So he achieved the broken version of it. So if you think of Super Saiyan 5 like Ultra Instinct.
Okay.
You have Gohan achieved Super Saiyan 5 Omen.
And now we're looking for mastered, or their hair color changes, and that's about
I
it.
see. Okay. I see.
Because we do get to see when Gohan powers up to this state fighting Yijing Shenlong, is that right?
So about that real quick. I don't know what's going on with this translation, right? Obviously, this is a fan work, and so you're not being paid for it, and so you only put in so much time. Yi Xinglong, Li Shenron, Yi Shenron, Li Xinglong, they're all over the place with how they're adapting this. This is not going to be like a full Who's That Dragon segment, but It's Yixing Long, okay?
Yeah.
Where they get Li from, Li, I'm guessing, is that in Japanese, the kana above the 1, the way they read it for the Chinese approximation, is a long E sound, which you would Romanize as I. Now, if you write that and you capitalize the first I, it looks like a lowercase L and a lowercase I. And somewhere along the lines, and this guy was going back over his notepad document, I guess, he misread that as Li, and that's where you must have gotten Li Shenron from.
Well, I wrote Yi Jing, so like Y-I-X-I-N-G. So I don't know. I'm just going over my notes from yesterday here. But we see that panel where he's, going to transform, and he kind of has to picture Pan, which was his trigger that first time to be able to achieve it again, which I think is a nice touch. It'd be neat to see Goku think about that time Kuririn got exploded real good before he fights 19, and then, so on and so forth. I don't know. I thought it was a nice touch.
But make sure you're only using this as a trump card, which means that Gohan goes Super Saiyan 4 right from the start, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
None of this,
I had that written down. I was like, hey, that's usually they try to escalate it over a bit, but I was like, oh, he went straight to 4.
Yeah. Gohan's like, we don't need any filler episodes here of me fighting a Super Saiyan 1. Go straight to 4, get down to business.
Right. Well, I feel that once they've kind of gotten through so many transformations, we kind of see this in Super as well, where we kind of forego anything between Super Saiyan 1 and God. We're like, all right, we got to ratchet up. All right, blonde hair. What's after that? Red hair, and then blue hair, and that's it. We don't do 2, we don't do 3, unless it's kind of a big surprise for people. So, it's a fan work, so I appreciate that. I guess I also would want to skip filler. Like, I'm busting my ass drawing this thing. I don't want to have to do more volumes just because I gotta tease out this fight.
Speaking of filler,
wives.
Well, you cut away to build tension, I think, in the pacing.
A little bit later, totally justified.
But here
I was, because I didn't know what was going to happen later to Gohan. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, he kind of dies. But, kind
of.
But immediately right off the bat, it was just like 2 pages. Yeah, 2 pages of just all the ladies chilling back at home, and then it goes right back to, Goten sneezes, and then it goes back to the fight.
Well, we had that in GT where we just would cut back and they were sitting there drinking tea, and they're like, I wonder how Goku's doing against those dragons. Yeah, can't really do anything about it. Whatever. And then we just go back to our stuff. So he's following the spirit of GT, which I could only respect.
It is a sequel after all.
It's true.
So, Super Yixing Long, who's basically just Frieza in every personality way.
He dances more than Frieza does, so...
It's true. There's a little Ginyu in him. A little Ginyu. He's been at 50% power this whole time, which he says out loud to Gohan. This is important for later.
Yes.
And he's got cool techniques. He's got he's got all sorts of snake attacks, which he can paralyze people with. And he kind of is doing like the King Piccolo, I'll take all your limbs out and then you can't fight anymore.
That's where I thought this was going to go, and then it was just going to be the end of that fight.
So when Gohan rips his own arm off. Just kidding.
When we were reading this next part, where Goten and Trunks want to help out, but then don't, I was thinking, like, I really wonder what Doug is going to think about this part. Because this feels like the kind of thing where Doug would take 10, 20 minutes complaining about this part. But Goten and Trunks want to help, and the Elder Kaioshin holds them off because Gohan hasn't even gotten serious yet. Plus, we might need him in case Vegeta's fight goes bad. Which I thought was sound enough reasoning to keep them off the field.
Yeah, I thought that was okay. I mean, they're nowhere near as strong. So, really, it's... what are they going to do, really?
With Dragon Ball's, like, overall logic, not just AF, but in general, there is that kind of like, hey, don't get in the way. You don't want to have to be a distraction kind of logic. So I was like, okay, yeah,
right. And fights are 1-on-1. We don't need to introduce, a 3-on-1 battle here. That's a little wild.
Because then we'd have to render it in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and that's just off the table.
That's true. So Gohan is using Super Saiyan 5, and then he powers down. So I was like, oh, this is going to be the brain damage situation that was going to happen. But then he just says like, oh, I think it's because I took too much damage as a Super Saiyan 4, and brushes it off. So I was like, oh, why did we introduce that thing? If it was going to be like, never mind, don't think about it. It's something else entirely.
You're talking about the 10 minutes thing?
Yeah, the 10 minutes thing. And then he's like, oh, but it's only been 5. And it's probably because I got hurt being as 4.
In Jiji's defense, and I'm the Jijii Defense Force, I am aware, is that he said no more than 10 minutes.
Right.
So, and that's like a best case scenario. And even Gohan, when he got into the fight, said, I'm going to have to pace this fight out and see. Mm-hmm. So he knew, like, this is going to have to, I'm not going to be able to use this maybe as intended.
Okay. See, I don't know what I was expecting when they had said, like, oh, it's a burden on the brain. So I'm like, okay, well, what does that exactly do to a person? Like, is it going to be like, oh, now your vision is reduced, or you lose sensation and like, limbs or whatever. But they're just like, oh, I'm just tired, and it just goes away. I was like, oh, I was expecting something more catastrophic.
It does. It gives him an aneurysm and he dies.
Is that what it is? I thought it was just, I put all my whole thing into that attack, and it kills me. Just like, Vegeta explodes, and that kills him, because he's done that move plenty of times where he just erupts energy out of his body in all directions, and he's still all
Turns
right.
into
His hair's
stone for some reason.
Yeah.
All right, exactly. Jake, tiebreaker. Civil War, who you with?
On turning to stone?
On team of the brain burden. Is that what this is?
Did the brain...
I interpreted it as the aneurysm. I don't recall right now if that was said anywhere, but that's what I was going with.
Wow. So sorry. Did not get that read at all. Huh. Okay. Well, now I'm thinking maybe I've got brain issues, or I'm not picking up on apparently very clear things.
Well, speaking of brain issues, when Yi Xinglong figures out that it's time to go 100%, he said, okay, I'm going to go 100%. And then Gohan goes, what? Again, he's just not paying attention in this fight. He doesn't know what's going on.
No. He doesn't have his wits about him because of the brain burden.
Yeah, and Elder Kaioshin's also like, yeah, I guess Elder Kaioshin makes it out like he really wasn't even totally sure about this. He's like, oh, I guess he took too much damage early on. Or as I think as Vegeta says the phrase, I took big damage or something like that. Again, this translation could use some work.
It's a labor of love, Ken. Why don't you get off people's backs?
So around this point is where we start getting Lee Shenron, which was like, okay. And that's when I came up with the theory about the great theory about the lowercase L. Kibito Kaioshin brings Xi Xinglong to Vegeta off panel in a confusing way. Yeah.
He had said it afterwards, like, okay, it's not what I read happening at all, but sure, I guess.
Yeah, I had to flip back. I had to flip back. I'm like, did I miss him? And no, he just
it just didn't show. Yeah,
I didn't want to draw him that time. I get it.
And Vegeta asks, "What wish are you from, dude?" I'm born from when Son Goku was restored to life, which wasn't a wish.
No, because there was it was the shot of him doing the Genki Dama against, the final evil dragon at the end of GT. And yeah, I was like, was that a wish? I thought he just kind of is okay because the dragon was like, whatever. You asked. So, but it counts here. I guess that counts as a full wish, according to Jijii. So that's fine.
I'm guessing that we hadn't hit Resurrection F by this point. Or else that would have been a really easy wish to go for.
Right. The next thing I have here is just straight to the end. Gohan thinks, how would my dad beat him? And then he's like, I got it. And then he punches him. Goku versus Metal Kula style. And he's like, yeah, I did it. And then Gohan just eats it and dies. I'm like, what? Okay.
I wrote down stomach hole punch so many times.
Yeah, times. Yeah.
Kind of can't complain because it looks cool, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Am I remembering the wrong thing? Wasn't this the Metal Kula like punch looking thing, or is that something that comes up later?
No, it is. It is. It happens.
Oh, okay,
it happens again.
Okay,
it happens again.
Whew, it's not me having bad reading comprehension and thinking maybe I need to check in and be like, my memory is not so great.
Well, with the on the topic of reading comprehension, they render out the dragon that Vegeta is about to fight as Su Shenron. Okay. Si Xinglong is what I'm going to be referring to him as here. In the Japanese approximation of the Chinese, it would be Su Shinron. Mm-hmm. But the way you would write that out as from Chinese to English would be Si and then Xinglong. So Si Xinglong, Su Shenron, same thing. Just
tomato.
If you're confused, yeah. But the idea is that Gohan realizes he needs to risk his life. He's like, that's the piece that's missing. And then I was going back to think, like, when has Gohan been pushed that he needs to risk his life like that? Really was even not with Cell so much?
I mean, I think just going to a planet where Frieza is risking your life personally, especially when, you couldn't even take out Nappa.
They didn't know Frieza was there.
Fighting Raccoon comes to mind.
Yep. I mean, granted, he was, enraged, but fighting like, second form Frieza, third form, so on and so forth.
I guess you're, not like an actual, like, I need to put my life on the line as a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm. But definitely the Raccoon fight, because, like, Kuririn was down, Vegeta was down, there's nobody else there, and Gohan's like, I'm just keep going, even if it breaks my neck, See,
this is one of those times where I'm like, did I think about it more than the authors did? Because it's like, Gohan was 5 on Planet Namek, so he could have just been, going for it. It's like, I got to do something.
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, Ken, were you going to make a point about this?
As I've started work up on my comic again, and I think that the logic of things, you can play around with it so long as you stay true to your characters. And I feel that Jijii does that with Gohan. Like, I don't feel anything necessarily out of place with him, Gohan being like, I need to put my life on the line here. So whether or not things add up in the past, I'm not super worried about it, right? Because this still feels like a Gohan move to make. Like, he reaches out, how would my dad handle this? And then through a series of events that we'll find out in the next chapter, comes to a conclusion and then acts on that. All still feels very in place for this character. So,
yeah, I'm down for that. Was there anything else in Volume 13? Because I think that's kind of where it leaves off.
A character called Son Goku is awake.
Oh, that's right. He's up. And he's not hungry, which is
weird.
Heard
everyone while he was dreaming.
Yeah, cool. I buy it because with the androids. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely buy that he was like aware. Maybe it's a translation thing. I just kind of chuckled.
Right. While I was dreaming, not while I was sleeping. It's literally like, I was thinking about food or getting in a car again. It's been a while.
I think it'd be cool if there was like some sort of visual representation of him, like kind of seeing some abstract illustrations of like what's going on like around him. Then they'd be like, oh, okay.
I think this has been a great opportunity to bring back that one time he put his hand on somebody's head and was like, oh, okay, I get it. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I think we all try to just forget that happened.
No, we don't.
We either try to forget or try to justify.
Double down.
I'm in the latter there. I want to see more of that.
Before we jump to
Goku's
volume
awake.
14, sorry, the back pages here reveal that Lu Xinglong, the guy who, if you don't remember, he had so much negative energy that positive energy would just bounce right off of him. His wish was never revealed, so these back pages reveal that he was brought back by the wish to wish back everyone who was killed by Piccolo Daimyo. Just for the wiki purposes,
I was thinking, I was like, it would have been nice if maybe he knew. Hindsight's 2020. He could have put all of this wish stuff like on those profiles and then not missed one. Who knows if he actually like missed one or decided it wasn't important. Or I appreciate that it's there, but it's like, oh yeah, okay.
Gotta cover all our bases.
My note for those profiles also was that they were all of their strengths were compared to Super Saiyan 2 specifically as a form.
Well,
like weaker than or stronger than.
Goten and Trunks were fighting them, so it was kind of going off of like that's how strong they were. Except for Trunks achieved Super Saiyan 3, so I guess just kind of doing that of like, okay, is stronger than, is weaker than these things that they fought. I mean, unless I'm misremembering, which if you followed along in this episode, probably the deal that's going on.
I just thought it was interesting that they were making a point of comparing to what is essentially a multiplier. Or now that we're finding out driven by a specific emotion. But if they were going off of like Super Saiyan 2 Goten or Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, like even there's context for also like at this point in the story, it would have been different if it was like stronger than Super Saiyan 2 Baby Trunks. Like that's anyway, you get my point. I just thought it was like, little all right.
I don't think about that. I just I guess.
Power level comparisons for me are like, okay, cool. Moving on.
Moving on. Which is kind of why I paged through those. And you're like, those profiles. I'm like, oh crap, I don't think I really read those. I just kept moving forward.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't read them. I just saw the thing about the Piccolo wish, and I'm like, that's what I was here for. And I moved on.
I mean, after I read them, I was like, why did I read these? But anywho.
Yeah. So volume 14, doesn't this start with a flashback to Gohan is alive thing? And like, I got to think about how my dad would do this. And then Goku is telepathically telling him what he needs to do rather than Gohan coming to a conclusion himself upon reflection, which I felt sucked.
It's a flashback without really introducing that it's a flashback right away. And so you're like,
Gohan's just alive.
What's going on here?
It was like that time when Vegeta said, screw you guys, I'm out of here. And he left. And the next episode, he was just chilling by a tree next to everybody.
Yep.
It's inelegant, but I don't mind Goku and Gohan getting this little moment because they're not going to get one, really, in AF so far. So to put it in here is okay to me.
This felt like it was a bunch of Goku yelling.
Yeah, he did seem really mean.
Yeah.
What are you doing, you? Just transform. Give your life up, dude. Like, all right, Goku.
Stop being an idiot. Yeah. That's supposed to be smart.
It's going to be the first time that he's done like something like this to go on. Just a little bit of a push. I was just thinking that like this kind of narrative misleading / reversionism, I don't think it's all that out of place in other stories I've read. I don't know if you guys have read like Jujutsu Kaisen stuff like that kind of happens where it's just, oh, we're cutting to here for the shock of it kind of thing where I surely didn't expect it. There's usually stuff like this usually doesn't happen in Dragon Ball where it's like, actually, if we go back, this thing
sorcery fight, as I call it, is doing this really obnoxious thing right now where this fight has been going on for like 100 chapters or something like that.
We're almost in on a year in real time.
And every time they introduce a new element or something new is happening, they then flash back to before the fight and all the characters discussing their plan. So they're trying to like Ocean's 11 it in reverse.
Okay.
And it's annoying.
I'm the not to suddenly turn this into the JJK podcast, but I am the optimist in my friend group of like let Gege cook, like let the author, like he's been brewing something for a long time, even though it looks like he kind of just keeps adding stuff every week. And
we're at the point now where
it's going.
Where he's like, they made a solemn vow or this, that, or the other. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know why, but it's just like it wasn't, a flashback or revisionism or anything, but just it seems like such a pace killer. It's like equivalent to, and I didn't watch this, but I did hear from friends and things like the Bleach anime where we had, the big showdown. It was going to be Ichigo versus Ulquiorra, and they're going at it. And then, never mind, middle of the fight, we're going to like a whole bunch of filler arcs for a long time, and then we'll come back to the fight. I'm like, really? In the middle of a fight? You're going to be like,
that stuff bothered me. I mean, I don't know how bad it was in Bleach. I haven't watched that, but that stuff bothers me in the Frieza fight in the anime. Like, on Namek.
The Bleach manga also does something like that, where at the end, the final battle is going on, and then they flash forward to after the fight, and then you find out how the fight ended from characters talking about it, and then it flashes back to the fight.
What?
So the Bleach ending is not good, but I'm hoping the anime fixes it.
That's my hope, too.
So there are good examples of that, like in Hunter x Hunter. I don't know if you guys have read or watched that, but there's a point where there's kind of a little bit of a tournament. It's not too much of a spoiler. It's not that far in. And the main character, Gon, loses early on, which, oh my God, a protagonist loses in a tournament early. Then why would you watch the rest of it? Just kidding. You won't. Fast forward to him in the bed, and then they talk about it, and then you got flashbacks. And that narratively helps. That is a good little way of subverting. But it sounded like for that, it was more drawn out and not so great for Bleach. So
yeah. A lot of problems there. So now Goku is awake, and do we go to the Vegeta fight, or does Goku have his thing with the old Kaioshin at this point?
Where it's time to train, baby.
Yeah, he's like, I want you to train me, and everybody's like, oh, what? We're in the middle of a fight. You can't just get taught something.
This is refreshing.
Forgotten about the emotional stuff, but yes. I was like, what do you want to train? Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been so poisoned by dumb Super Goku that getting a Goku who just shows up and he's like, all right, let's get down to business. We got stuff to take care of. Let's go. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is like GT Goku when he got serious. This is Buu Arc Goku is kind of a more sagely like thinking about things at a higher level. And not just, ooh, Waku Waku, where's my, steamed bun? We're past that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I didn't think about that. So I was like, what is the wetness at my elbow? And it's Belle. She's here. I didn't even hear her come in.
I watched her come in, and she looks super jazzed to be here.
Oh, yeah, man. She's having a good old time. Do you want to talk about Goku being serious instead of being Waku Waku and wanting his steamed buns? No, you just want red rubs to your head? That's fine. So Vegeta starts fighting. Oh, God. I just started writing like 4-star because that's how many he has.
Oh, I did too.
Forehead.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And they're doing some fights. My next note is just Neo Dragon Ball.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Uh-huh.
I was like, is there another panel that is the rest of the attack name? No, that's just what it is? Okay, gotcha.
Guys will look at this and say, hell yeah. That's me. I'm that guy.
It's just a big dragon-shaped ki blast, right? That's all it is. I mean, not
all of his attacks.
All attacks are just kind of like, it's a light ball that I threw at a guy. Like, so.
I went through these like waves of like, that's so stupid, but that he's the 4-star ball dragon, so it's kind of awesome, but it's also like, but he's not saying Dragon Ball, he's saying Neo Dragon Ball. I was like, wow, okay, just...
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I just thought it was like just Neo Dragon Ball.
I was going to be curious to take a look and see, like, how is this written out in,
layers.
Yeah, exactly. Is it like Neo Ryudama? Like, just new Dragon Ball. Like, sure, why not?
Everyone reunites. sees Goku's training.
No, Randy, you just made a good point on like, was it originally written as Dama or Boru?
Yeah.
I can't go down this path of wondering what was written in Japanese. I'm not going to hunt this stuff down in Japanese and like go back through it to find out, well, how was planet, what was it, Mujin or whatever? How was that written out,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
We're so many steps away from doing our own AF wiki at this point.
God help me, please. No, someone else do that. I can't go down that hole. I can't do it.
But
everyone sees Goku awake.
Yes.
And he's doing the emotional control training. Congratulations, Goku.
Getting those emotions under control. Then Vegeta decides to step it up. Now he's going to use Super Saiyan 5. The fight calls for it because he's using like his dragon jacket or whatever it is, where he's got like he looks like Naruto in that first fight against Sasuke, where he's got like the shroud of chakra around him in this shape.
New to Dragon Ball. I think. That kind of like key armor energy kind of. Yeah.
It shows up in something else later. So yeah, he's doing that, which is cool. Like, I like that. That's inventive and neat and different. But Vegeta's Super Saiyan 5 transformation, it runs out. Does he also have the brain attack? Is that what's going on? And
yeah, this is where he says the damage I took was bigger than I thought, or something like that. I'm like, all right, okay. Hey, next time, send me the translation. I'll be your editor for free. I'll go through this.
So then, I mean, he still wants to fight. He goes to like what, Super Saiyan 1?
Yeah.
And is like going to keep
I
going
looked for the
it.
electricity. There was none.
And then 4 is going to, we're like, well, this is the end. Let me use a big powerful attack and let me clean your clock. But oh no, he gets punched in the face.
Vegeta starts crying here.
What? I missed this.
Is he?
Wasn't too focused, but tears are absolutely not only coming out of his face, but has a dramatic tears shed panel where it's just all black and there's some teardrops falling.
Oh, I'm like, interesting.
Whoa.
Oh, you are right. Yeah.
He really cares, huh?
Wow.
Yeah. Dang.
Far cry from the Vegeta we just saw, who was like, I'm happy to murder women and children, but
it's my favorite, my hobby even.
Yeah.
On the weekends even. Goku has arrived as Super Saiyan 4 to take on the 4-star Super Dragon.
Whoa.
Classic Ken Pogger's face. He's so excited to see Goku on the spot. And that's kind of where that volume ends.
Not a bad ending. The shot of, is it the very end here or the beginning? Yeah, of Vegeta kind of like shocked behind Goku.
Oh, yeah.
I also was just kind of like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that with Vegeta in that kind of, I don't know, situation. Obviously, with Frieza when he was dying, that was different. But I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Of just kind of him
in
exhausted. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
the closest to that would be when Vegeta was saved, when Gohan and Krillin save him against the Ginyu Force, or when Gohan jumps in the way and takes that blast. And at the end of the Cell arc, those are the only other two kind of situations I could think of like that.
Yeah. But, notable.
Yeah. Notable for Vegeta. Absolutely. So volume 15, I read all these yesterday and my notes are now over. So I'm kind of counting on you guys.
All right. Goku's got a case of projectile dysfunction. Where he shoots a Kamehameha and misses because he's so out of practice.
Oh, he's been asleep / dead for a hot minute. So, because it's been 3 years.
Yeah. And then we flash back to 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. Okay. So I went back and I flipped through and I'm like, how long did the Super Saiyan 5 training take Vegeta and Gohan? Well, let me tell you.
By the way, when I read that, I had the thought, I'm like, I'm not going to do this.
I did. Well, that's why I'm here. Vegeta's training, and these are both quotes from Kibito Kaioshin. Vegeta's training took, quote, almost an entire day, and Gohan's took, quote, almost 24 hours.
Okay. The
2
difference
hours.
being... yeah. Took almost an entire day. Took almost 24 hours. Like, yeah, that's synonymous, I think. But yeah, 2 hours. I mean...
That's the Goku difference, baby.
Yeah, man.
He's a prodigy. Yes.
He's operating on Goku time. So...
And you could say that maybe because then this is when they're going to reveal like the emotional elements that build up to Super Saiyan 5. Is that maybe Goku was putting pieces together while he was asleep, and so that's how he's able to do this in 1/12 of the time that it took everyone else.
He did it while he was dreaming.
I guess he got a head start.
Yeah.
You're certainly aware of it. Well,
So
this
Goku-
is also when we get the... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he wants to surpass Super Saiyan 5 with charts and graphs. Jake?
Yeah.
Classic Goku. He's got his PowerPoint presentation ready to go.
And he is going to disperse his emotions to eliminate the Super Saiyan 5 demerit of time limit, which is, again, send me these translations. I'll fix the wording for you. So it's
right.
Reads a little better. Goku would never use the phrase demerit.
I reread that like 10 times.
Yeah.
Be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Come again, Goku?
Mm-hmm.
All this to say, now, if you go back and you think about when Vegeta was doing his emotional control training, he was like laughing and then screaming and then crying. He was going through pleasure, sorrow, rage. So we were exploring these. I feel like Jijii was thinking about that stuff the whole time. Like, this is where I'm going. These are going to be the elements. And then he forgets to like bring up joy, I guess. I don't know. You could say maybe that was Super Saiyan God, but
true. So I'm a dum-dum. And when he said, I'm going to surpass this whole thing, I was like, oh, shit. He's going to skip 5, go straight to whatever 6 is going to be, which is like, I don't know, enlightenment or something and all that. And I was like, oh, he's just doing 5. But okay, I guess that's fine.
Well, he gets Super Saiyan 4 activating at a level higher than Vegeta at Super Saiyan 5.
True. So that's impressive. And is that just from being dead for a long time? Now he's supercharged? I don't know.
I mean, we're told that. I wouldn't say it's visually demonstrated, but yeah, it's definitely a narrative thing.
True.
We're now at what I thought was the worst part of all of the volumes we read, in which Vegeta is watching Goku, and then Vegeta goes, oh, he put the emotions together. He did it, that son of a... Vegeta, if you knew all along how this worked, you didn't tell anyone, you didn't try to do it yourself.
You know, because he's always had that insight, like when training for Cell, you realize there is a grade above 2nd grade, but he never bothered to use it because he's like, no, I know that that's not how to do that. So if he knew or could intuit, here's how you overcome that. Why didn't you just do it yourself? It makes little sense to me.
And then
I always feel like Vegeta's just the type of person that has an idea of like, oh, maybe it could work like that. And when someone else, Goku, actually ends up doing it, they're like, I knew it. Like, so
I could have done that.
I knew he was going to release Pawn out of his belly, and that would be my chance to strike.
Right.
We're never going to let that one die.
They are, quote, releasing all 4 emotions gradually. What does that, Randy, what does that mean to release?
You know what? Different emotions have different, key sensations.
Evil key. You can feel an evil key, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's a joyful key, one could say, a sorrowful one, a rageful one. And, they're all their own little, jars, with labels like this one makes me happy. And this one I get real sad. So he's just kind of got them all open and he's just slowly pouring them into a big pot. And that's his Super Saiyan 5 key jug. So, that's how that works.
All right. Yeah.
Take me seriously, Jake. God damn it.
I have a key jug. What are you? I'm taking you very seriously.
Let's all show each other our key jugs. And
so after much discussion, we finally get Super Saiyan 5 Goku, which doesn't look right without the Tablos costume.
Right? I kind of miss that. Because it's just long hair. Does he have like the one or the two like antenna things, kind of like that Vegeta has? Or
he has the one, yeah.
The one, okay. Gotcha.
It's just...
I mean, I'll give him credit for at least if he did just suddenly have those clothes, I would have been like, man, what the fuck? I mean, but I'm always a stickler for the magic pants anyway, so it's I was like, well, yeah.
Jake, the magic pants lover.
No, the magic pants hater.
oh, gotcha. Hate it. All right,
sorry,
that's different.
I'm controversial in that I think when Goku turned into Super Saiyan 4, he should have been just butt naked.
That would have been
they could have figured it out. Then I'd been like, there's some like pants, there's a pants store over here, we could grab some pants. But
so Ken, you're saying that this is kind of the bottom of the barrel for chapters. Could you go into why?
Well, I'm just saying I didn't really like the Vegeta stuff of him knowing this obscure. I mean, it was just as much as like Elder Kaioshin knowing about Super Saiyan 5 to me. It was like, you're holding back pieces that we should be telling everyone well in advance, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I gotcha.
But as far as my opinion on these things, my opinions are limited.
Kamehameha. What? Why? Why limited? Why not unlimited?
Again, I think there's a translation issue here. It doesn't make sense.
I thought the unlimited was going to come later because he was using a limited one. I was like, oh, maybe there's another one.
Right, yeah.
This is my Kamehameha omen, and I'm going to show you mastery later.
Right.
Goku does a really big blast. He's going to finish off the 4-star dragon, and they're like, all right, we did it. He's gone.
He got two full page spreads.
Yeah. The huge, big, limited Kamehameha, and but 4-star dragon, now he's on the Kaioshin planet. He teleported now. He's got that ability.
After seeing Kaioshin use it, which we didn't even get to see him use that. So I'm offended, honestly.
That's bad writing.
So we're in volume 16 now. C eats the Dragon Balls. Hey guys, we've never seen this before.
Whoa!
I like backed up from my computer. I was because I was wondering. I was like, this can't be the last guy. He could be, but for my own sanity, I kind of wish. But then he does the thing that evil Shenron did in GT, and right, yeah.
And now he looks more like that last one. I don't remember. He was the 1-star. Is that Yi? Who cares?
Yeah.
Ken does, but
I do. I care very much.
He's got all these powers, got all the dragons, starts threatening people. I'm just kind of skimming through here to be like, what is happening?
Goku's too late to stop him. Kaioshin yeet out of there. They go to planet Mujin. They're going to stay safe. Goku powers up from his Super Saiyan 5 state and now has electricity. So let's get some charts and graphs out here. All right. So if we think about this in grades, right? Grade 1, Super Saiyan 5 would be Gohan and Vegeta's form, right? Where there's a time limit. Then we have grade 2, which is where there's a mastery of emotions. You're dispersing your emotions gradually. No time limit.
Pouring them into the jug.
And then grade 3 is to go even further beyond where you have lightning. And so I guess this would be Super Saiyan 5 grade 3 is how I would classify this.
Full jug is what I'm going to call it.
Full jug. What's this guy's name? Which one are we on? Si Xinglong. He is launching a dragon cannon. And it took me a few times to figure out what was going on here in the way that the paneling was structured. Is that he turns away from Goku and then fires it at Trunks. Mm-hmm. But I had a really hard time parsing that out. Because it's such an unexpected thing for him to do, I guess. So I'm caught off guard as well. Goku teleports in front of Trunks, takes the hit, and is like takes major damage from that. And so then
big
he's
damage.
just kind of, big damage, bigger than expected. Goku starts getting owned by C, so Vegeta is like, guys, we need to give him our ki. Vegeta gathers everyone to give ki to Goku, and Oob unleashes Majin mode to stall C Shenlong, which is what happened with Baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
He jumped in.
Yeah, to like hold stuff off because like he didn't have Saya power, but here specifically they just say ki, and I'm not sure again what the original might have said. But I was like, feels like this is supposed to be Saya power.
Well, because then they do say that next, right? Don't they?
Next volume, they say Saiyan, but
yeah, we know. Again,
it's times like these that I wish we got more time with Oob, because I couldn't help but think like, oh, you can just turn it on. Like, I have no doubt that you're experienced or skilled enough to do that because you were training with Goku and all these folks. But I just wish I could have seen that, or maybe just a little hint at that.
Right.
Well,
I did because it was a previous episode, but I did really appreciate that Oob actually got like a win. He finished off one of the dragons, so I was like, that was genuinely surprising to me. But yeah,
well,
wish we got more.
That's the most he's gonna get because he doesn't get long, silver, beautiful hair. So,
and I don't even know if we'll ever see him again in this.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure. Just to give you a little bit of future knowledge, where we're at now, right? This is the end of this arc. And then they do another like Marble and Chiyoko type thing where there's another 3-volume, smaller, like in-between arc. And then the arc after that is the arc that he is still writing.
Okay.
And I don't know if Oob is in any of that.
Ken, I did not know there was more after this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is where we're stopping for now, probably for like the rest of this year. But we will have to pick this up at some point because the story continues. See, and you know what? We pick back up. Gohan and Pan, who in my notes, I several times wrote Videl instead.
Well, she's older now, so that's, easy enough to mistake. Here's the thing. When they're doing their whole give our Saya power to Goku, and it's like, okay, well, now I see Goku and Pan holding hands, and like, I don't know, something just the way about like the little key bubbles are happening. I'm like, oh shit, are we going to be like, now he's transcended to Super Saiyan God or, anything? Because now we've had Battle of Gods happen. It's like, okay, are we going to rewrite how this whole technique works? But I guess we said, oh, that happened already at some point. I guess at the normal point. I was like, I was kind of hoping it'd be some sort of weird fusion of the two things, but I was let down.
Yeah, and Goku is rejuvenated.
The first page of Volume 17 here starts with Goku has obtained the ultimate power by absorbing the Saiyan power of everyone.
Yeah.
Now, at first, I thought, like, okay, so it is something different, something related to the God form because of what we saw in Battle of Gods, but demonstrably, it didn't really change anything. So,
call back to the baby arc where it was everybody stand around me and I don't know, give me good vibes, and now I'm full power, Super Saiyan 4, even though there's also still no change there.
Quick real-world timeline stuff. In the back pages of Volume 16, there is Resurrection F fan art. So we are now in the 2015 range when this would have been coming out. And then, of course, the next volume has a bunch of stuff that we're not going to cover. That is like half of the next volume is just Super Saiyan Blue battle.
Yeah. Is it half?
It's a lot. So Volume 17... Goku, has achieved ultimate power, and Goku uses several attacks in succession where he channels Pan, Goten, Trunks, Vegeta, and then finally Gohan. And dude, this hits.
That's sick. I loved that so much.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if Pan was the last one. I don't know. That probably would have been good.
I, at some point, missed where Gohan was exactly?
He's the final one.
He is the final one? Because I guess the final one was Vegeta.
Because it's Pan, and then it's
oh, you're totally right. I missed that page. No, don't listen to me.
Trunks. I'm dumb over here. That elbow attack looks like we're not really doing anything. It looks like he's just flexing. I was like, all right.
I like the way he paces this out. Each succession is like, there's 2 pages for each of these characters that he's channeling. The first one is him like building up the attack, and then on the next page, the attack hits. And then you go to another build up, hit, build up, hit, build up, hit, build up, hit. Yeah. And so there's like a rhythm to it that's like, oh, yes, 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 yes. And you're with them the whole time. And then it goes to a 2-page spread of them all like bursting through movie 6 Metal Kula style on this guy.
Yeah.
I can practically see this finisher in Sparking Zero.
Oh yeah.
Like this is pretty good.
Yeah. Before we do the turnaround limited Kamehameha to, finish him off entirely with another 2-page spread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Goku uses the limited Kamehameha and wipes out Si Xinglong, ending the evil dragons once and for all. And Elder Kaioshin says, and I quote, "Gives me chills every time."
He's been around the block at this point.
Every time that Goku prevails gives him chills. He saw him finish off Boo, Baby, 17,
Evil Dragons.
The Evil Dragons.
I forgot about the panel of Kibito Kai, I don't know, feeding Oob, pouring water on Oob to get him to go back to normal using the divine water stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget that. Have to do that.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, calm down, little boy.
So they're going to summon Shenlong, and oh my god, these tracings.
Yeah, it feels like this is not something that he would have drawn.
No. So he traces the first time they summon Shenlong, and then he traces, I think, like the last big time we see Shenlong summoned in the Buu arc. So if that's the intent that he was going for of which ones to trace, then okay, I'll accept that as an homage. But man, I went and pulled my manga volume out and like compared it, and dude straight up 1-to-1 traced this stuff.
Oh, wow.
It is way too close.
Too close for comfort. So he's like, oh, you did a good job. You purified it. Start wishing. Let's go back to doing what we were doing before. I felt like it was strange to be like, we're going to do this on our own power. Like, okay, get the dragon. Like, wait, what? Like, I understand you can't bring people back to life, but I don't know. It just seems like we're going back to what we did.
I think a lot of why a lot of people, how do I put this? A lot of people really like the concept in GT for the evil dragons, mainly because of the whole idea of introducing consequences, right? Of just, hey, all this stuff that we've been more or less abusing these godly powers for, it's going to come back to bite you like this. And it's in a cartoonish, like Saturday morning kind of way, but that at least resonated with people, and GT did end in a way that felt like, hey, no more Dragon Balls, no more Goku, this is all going away. Like, this is a real change to the status quo. I don't know if I hate this, but it definitely feels a little weird to just kind of go back to starting fresh of like, hey, we got the OG Dragon Balls back. Hey, we got Goku back. It's all good. If something like this happens again, hey, we'll just beat him up.
Yeah.
I like it because the way this ends off, they wish everyone back and everyone is happy, and it just ends with, hey, the whole gang's back together, everything's nice. We don't have Joji Yanami jumping in to tell us that something disastrous is about to happen. Like, if you just want this to be the end point, and then you can have this like iconic group of characters go on to continue having adventures together in your mind, then you're good there. GT is a very depressing ending to me, in which you are like literally stripping all of the magic out of the Dragon World. and then being like, oh, Goku is like become a god or is dead or is not or something. And some people think that he's just going off to train and we'll like literally never see him again. And so it's, I forget where we ended up on the GT. But I know we were kind of all a little iffy on the ending after having sat through that whole show. So to me, this is just kind of, yeah, it's a needlessly happy ending, I guess, but I was in the mood for it with this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was big happy when Pan sits up and then sees Goku and then runs to him and, welcome back, Grandpa. It's like, that's what I wanted. Okay, it's all worth it. I'm okay with it. No problems here.
So for me, I mean, a big reason why ultimately, reading through AF, and I've said many times throughout this whole podcast that I'm just reeling back and rolling my eyes. It's mainly because it is so much GT flavored fighting. Whereas I'm looking for those character nuggets. Like I'm looking for those little things about these characters that I like these little wrinkles. I like seeing them in these new situations with each other. That bit with Pan at the end it's like, thank you for that. Like I really needed that kind of through line. Because for a little bit I forgot that Pan was a thing in this. So I appreciated it.
I think Jijii even forgot when she died. Because the wish Goku makes, I think, is to wish back everyone who died in this fight.
Oh.
But she died with eyes and not the evil dragons.
Well, he says, Pan, go on, and everyone that died in this fight.
So he is
vague.
Grouping a whole bunch of people in one go.
Yeah.
What a greedy.
He's going to build up negative energy like with wishes like that. He needs to be careful.
You better be careful.
Yeah, man. Joji Yanami's going to be like, oh, this could be bad news for Goku and friends. Man. Well, that's good. I'm glad that we all kind of came around on the ending. It's kind of like, well, that's good. At least we'll be happy with that.
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, me neither. Jake, you were surprised. There's more after this. Ken, I know that, I assume you've read everything that there is to for
I know
Jiji's
what's
AF?
No. I know what's coming-ish. And it's weird.
Okay.
The next bad guy's name is Spoits. So we'll get to that when we get to it.
Hopefully not for a while.
I'm trying to rack my brain of like what that could possibly be a pun on or a reference to.
Maybe nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a fun sound.
I really enjoyed you guys talking about what marble could be a reference to. And
I don't even remember where
I'll go
we
with
ended up
smokes.
There. Ooh, there you go.
I don't think it has any reason, but
right. Oh, geez. Okay, well,
I want us to just kind of look at one of the last pages right before we actually close all this out with well, if we're going by page numbers, page 37 with everyone, you get a little Brady Bunch action with all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And who else but my boy, just dead center, Piccolo.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know he's not even in this arc.
Hey man, wow. I'm glad you're happy. Anyway, he's still chilling in hell, I guess.
Yeah,
talking to Frieza casually.
Just throwing him in there just reminds me when I was 6, I drew a Power Rangers comic because Power Rangers was the thing. And absolutely. I went through a whole, regular Power Rangers length episode and they beat the bad guy. And then there's just a page of just the Blue Ranger. And I'm like, and Billy was there because I realized that I did not include him in the entire comic. I'm like, I gotta have some representation, otherwise, we screwed it up.
It matters.
It matters. I didn't forget him. I did. This is me admitting I forgot him. Oh man, that's good stuff. Oh geez. Well, you know what? I think that wraps up us talking about that whole arc of Jiji's AF. Do we take a break? If we have that announcement, that's got to be coming at some point, right?
It'll be at the end of the show. People got to watch.
Okay. That's true.
Or listen.
Exactly. Just wanted you to make sure.
Tickle them a little bit more.
Exactly. A little more tickling. Don't leave before the break because, of course, we've always got the good stuff afterwards. So sit back, relax, and we'll get to some more fun in just a sec. Hello and welcome back to, oh God, I'm so sorry, audio listeners. I have to just alert you to the disturbing thing of Ken holding up a Deadpool mask over his face. You can see his eyes. It's haunting, and I can't stop looking.
Do you know where this came from? You don't. They made a series of DiGiorno Deadpool pizzas that you can buy. There's 4 different flavors. There's like a chimichanga one, but the one I got is the Wade Special, which he orders in the first movie. I don't know. It might be a comic book thing. I don't read Deadpool comics. I'm a basic movie guy, you know. He orders it, and it is black olives and pineapples. The Wade Special. And then this was a cutout on the back of the box. So.
And you've wow, it's incredible. I'm so impressed. The Deadpool is in the air. You know what else is in the air? Tweets, because they arrive via airmail, or so I'm led to believe. That's how birds do it. Ken had thrown out our tweet saying, hey, it's all led to this. What are your thoughts on the second half of Young Jijii's Evil Dragons arc and Dragon Ball AF? And we've got some responses. Ken, why don't you take this first thing from Pika Fan. I almost said Pika Fan. My apologies.
Sure. So Pika Fan 3 writes in with a lot of stuff. And first of all, I have to... it is unbelievable that you put so much thought into your response here, and we deeply appreciate it. I can't read all of this. We have to pull back the curtain for you a little bit. We try not to read the replies before the show goes live, just so that they're not influencing us. We're not accidentally subconsciously stealing something that you say. So we don't really pre-screen anything until we get to it. And then by the time we get to the reply, or we break and then we pull up the tweet and we look at it. And then our brains are pretty fried. So I can't go through all of this right now. However, we're going to link your tweet in the YouTube version, and I will read your conclusion and all. But again, thank you so much for writing in. We love that you care so much.
Thank you.
So on that note, Pika Fan 3's conclusion is, this arc started off promising as Jijii was able to correct flaws from the original arc, and Jijii's attention to plot structure and creative solutions to power scaling dilemmas are worthy of praise. Unfortunately, the plot and Jijii's competence in writing started appearing around when Gohan was cornered against Super Yi. There is too much convenience in the plot once Goku returns, as well as a lack of impact when Jijii tackles the theme of this plot. The ending was sweet, but relies heavily on prior work to create an emotional response. Ultimately, this arc is worth a watch, or read, I guess, at least once, but I personally wouldn't want to revisit it.
Very, very fair. And echoing Ken, thank you so much for all of this. It shows a lot of love and passion for AF and the conversation at large. So yeah, definitely, if you have the ability, go check out their response here. Jake, do you want to take this next one from Jacob? Wait, you're 2 separate people?
I am not Jacob Sawyer. Shout out to Jacob Sawyer. I'm pretty sure he responds to almost every episode. And every time I'm listening, I'm just like, damn, I need to step it up. So pleasure to finally read another Jacob. Jacob writes in, I think I might have enjoyed this more with some breaks between the chapter so I could forget about the many repeated beats. I also find myself exhausted whenever the Elder Kai is giving exposition. The action is good and flows well, and there are a few fun character beats.
Oh, yeah. We've got old man tells us what's going on syndrome at this point. So I feel you there. I wish I took a break because they kind of all bled together, and I had to, even a day later, I'm like, what happened? So I feel you there. Good job, Jacob. Yeah. I think I need to listen to your advice when it comes to reading stuff. That'd probably be way better. We've got this one from Yokai Alone, who says, this had some good bits, but ultimately was kind of a drag. I felt Yi Jinglong and Si Jinglong didn't really stand out from each other a lot outside of surface level differences. I feel whenever Toriyama had a gauntlet like this, Tournament, Ginyu Force, he'd mix things up more. I liked Gohan's sacrifice and finding strength in the memory of his father. At this point, Gohan had been off the battlefield so long it made sense he'd kind of have to figure this out again. Though I think this moment was kind of undermined by retroactively saying Goku spoke into his mind there. Xi Jinglong was a bit of a letdown. He starts with an unconventional design, and it was cool to have our final guy be the 4-star dragon this time, with a wish that tied to Goku, but then he doesn't do anything of note. Yi Jinglong at least had some flair. Yeah, I would agree there. Especially, like, I also felt that it was kind of a bummer to retroactively be like, oh, they actually had a conversation rather than Gohan, you know, being like, let me think about it. Tap into my dad's soul. Like, what is he... what drives him, and how could I do better at this? So,
thankfully,
I'm right there.
Goku was already knocking, ringing that doorbell.
That's true. He's there. He's right there. Ken, do you want to take this last one here?
Yeah, Neuronova writes in and says, short response this time, and while chapters were fun, this is where I feel the story does fall apart the most. The main complaint I have is that Gohan and Vegeta just kind of get traded for Goku. I thought this was Gohan's fight to finish. Side note, it was nice to see Toy Bowl again. We didn't even touch on that. At the end of volume 17, there's like all of these other AF or just Dragon Ball fan comic artists who write in and congratulate Jijii on finishing the story at that point. Mm-hmm. And one of them, Toyotaro comes in and draws Zycor and like a congratulations Jijii. Also, we have Dragon Garo Lee comes in, who does the that time I got reincarnated as Yamcha manga, as well as like Dragon Ball Sai and some other works. They write in and say congratulations, and it's just really cool to see everyone all coming together like this and congratulating like one of their peers.
Yeah, not something you generally see for like a fan work, because it's usually kind of like, you know, it's just the person, they make the thing, and that's kind of it. It's not like a community situation. At least I'm talking out of my butt because I don't really read a lot of fan manga, so I don't know. Maybe this happens all the time. But yeah, this is super cool. I like that.
Probably the most recent official Zycor art from Toyotaro.
True, because this would have been post him even doing the Resurrection F manga, right?
Official.
Yeah.
Wow.
Capsule Corporation.
This is where Doug would bring up that there is a bootleg Zycor figure arts that is coming out soon, and it looks awesome. I wish I had ordered it, honestly.
Oh, are you serious? I thought you were joking.
Yeah,
Holy
no,
crap.
It's real, man. It's too real.
I'm googling that right now.
Oh, yeah. Goog it real good. Oh, I don't like that. Hey, you know what? If you're over on Spotify, you know that we got polls every episode. Last episode where we talked about San Diego Comic-Con, we threw out the question, what upcoming Dragon Ball thing are you most looking forward to? And our winner, guys, our listeners, they're the best people. Winner was Sparking Zero, and Daima second place. So that's interesting.
What are the numbers on that? I'm curious.
I'll give you percentages because that's more impressive than if I were to give you number of voters.
All right.
Sparking Zero, 57.1% are all about Sparking Zero. 42.9% into Daima, 0% into divers, and 0% of people are looking forward to figures. So, you know what?
I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Daima and the who asked for this kind of situation, but we'll see.
Jake, what are you feeling? You know, you haven't been here. What's your Daima temperature?
If I had to vote, it would be Daima.
All right.
I'm historically optimistic when it comes to stuff like this. I was so jazzed about Dragon Ball Super's announcement right up until the episode, what was it, 4 or 5? I feel the same way, knowing all of this talent is involved, knowing that there's appreciation for the animation. There's so much time put into the production ahead of time. There are just so many things that I'm like, this has got to be great. This has got to be like something to enjoy, not just me wanting to see action figures hit each other. So
that's true.
That's what I'm really hoping for, is something special.
I'm crossed.
I also wasn't really looking forward to Sparking Zero until we learned more about it. Like the actual announcement, I was like, I didn't grow up with those games. I grew up with the Super Famicom fighters. So it looks really cool now because there's just so much sauce in the gameplay, a lot of attention to detail. And the Budokai games always had that. But that once you start teasing the what if scenarios, I'm in. Like I think I'm really into that. So I don't know anything about divers. And
nobody does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome. So this is normally the time that Doug remembers something and then is emotionally destroyed, which is trivia. Last time. Dang, that was the reaction we really wanted. So thank you.
I couldn't let that go this week.
Last time, I forgot to reach out to Zenpai, and Zenpai has been very, very busy, so he also forgot, and we didn't do trivia. So today, I was like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't let you know like a week ago when I said we're going to do AF, because he likes to craft them for a theme. But unfortunately, AF is, we got, what are we supposed to do here?
What's the trivia there? Yeah.
Right. So I was like, just do whatever you want. So he says double trivia since there was no session last time. So we have a chunk of questions for you. And I want you to both put your thinking hats on.
We don't have to double these up in the future.
We don't have to, Zenpai. But you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to go through it real quick here because this episode has been going long. So question 1, put on your thinking hats, put on your Deadpool mask. How many Dragon Ball games came out for the Famicom or the NES if you're nasty?
Oh, fuck.
Again.
No, I guess I'm pointing up.
Oh, okay. I thought you were raising your hand. I'm like, I know.
No, I'll raise my Deadpool if I'm ready.
Okay, gotcha. Do you want to just throw out a guess? Throw out a number. How many NES Dragon Ball games were there?
9.
9, he says. Okay, well, Jake wins for being the closest without going over. It was 8.
Oh, I was so close, Dan.
You were so close.
Oh, you were, yeah.
We had Dragon Ball Shenlong no Nazo, Dragon Ball Daimo Fukatsu, Dragon Ball 3 Gokuden, Dragon Ball Z Kyoshu, Saiyajin Kyoshu Saiyajin, Dragon Ball Z 2 Gekishin Frieza, Dragon Ball Z 3 Resen Jinzo Ningen, Dragon Ball Z Gekito Tenkaichi Budokai, and Dragon Ball Z Gaiden Saiyajin Zetsumetsu Keikaku. So there you go. There are those 8. And question 2. How many chapters has the Hunt for the Dragon Balls arc? At the very first arc of Dragon Ball. Okay, how many chapters is the first arc? There you go. The Hunt for the Dragon Balls. How many chapters is that? Ken, raising the Deadpool.
14.
All right, Jake, you got a different answer to that.
18.
Ooh, Jake wins again, closes out going over 23. So,
that's more than I thought it would be, but okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It sneaks up on you how much it is. Next question. What is the name of the original Japanese actor for Tenshinhan? What?
Is it something Suzuoka?
So close. Hirotaka Suzuoki.
Okay, that's
give
like
that to Ken.
Yeah, it's like 40% of the name. So
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to you. Died of lung cancer in 2006, which is a bummer. Heavy smoker and drinker. So I guess you live hard and you play Tenshinhan, and that's what happens. What is the title of the 5th volume of the Dragon Ball manga? Oh, we got titles for these? I didn't know. I thought they were just numbered.
That would be. We're in the tournament at that point, right? At the tail end of that tournament. So the Red Ribbon Army strikes.
There you go, Jake. You want to throw anything out here?
The final Kamehameha.
Ooh, that's good. That would be great. The 5th volume. It's the last one. We promise.
Right, it checks out. But.
The Terror of Muscle Tower. So Ken, you're a little too soon. you got to realign because you're like, there's 14 chapters. Now there's 23. So now you got to pad it down.
No, my numbers are all out of whack.
What is the only volume of the Dragon Ball Super manga to have 2 different pieces of spine art?
Oh, I don't know exactly which one, but it is one of the Trunks ones, right?
I'd have to look up to see what volume is what, because I got a volume
where there is a different character on the spine art in like a special V-Jump version that you could order versus the
I'm going to give it to
version.
you.
Yeah.
Volume 5, there's a special edition with a different cover which extends to the spine art.
5. My guess was going to be 8. But 5. Cool.
And finally, in which episode of Dragon Ball Z does Mr. Satan make his first debut? Ken, you're Satan
I'm
fan
doing
number
math.
1.
I'm going to say 170.
All right, Jake, you want to throw out a random
I saw Randy's face. I was so close. So it's 170 something.
Don't look at my face. Don't look at it.
I'll go 160.
Oh, Jake, you should have went a little higher. It's 173, so Ken, you got it. The closest without going over.
The math almost never fails.
Other than the 2 times previously in the last 5 minutes that it definitely did fail.
It's fictional math.
Of course. So we had brought it up before. Hey, Ken and I were on a recent episode of Tomes of Evil, where they talk about comic book villains. And previously I was on there to talk about Frieza. This time, it took both of us to handle Moro from the Dragon Ball Super manga. So definitely check that out. We had a blast and just all around good time. That Russell over at Tomes, super good dude.
And Doug didn't join us because Doug, of course, has not read Dragon Ball Super.
No.
Which brings us to our big announcement.
Right.
We will finally get Doug to read Dragon Ball Super. On the next episode of We Got a Podcast, we will be jumping straight into the Moro arc, and we will begin with volumes 9 and 10 of Dragon Ball Super, in which Doug will finally learn about the Goat Man himself.
I was a dumbass and knew this was coming, and I grabbed volume 1 of Dragon Ball Super. I was like, look, you're going to have to... No, that's not the right volume.
That's okay. That gets the point across that guess what? There's a whole new manga in town, and Toyable's back with a vengeance this time, and he's making money off of it. I would hope more so than he was off of AF. So, yeah, that's it. It's happening. So if you haven't read the Moro stuff, or read it recently, like me, I just read it as it was coming out weekly, reread that thing again, because, oh boy, you're in for a treat. And
I think even if you don't want to reread it, you got to tune in and figure out what Doug thinks about it. That's what I'm most excited about.
We have had a campaign since the start of this podcast to get Doug to read the Dragon Ball Super manga. Who knew? All that it needed to happen was Ken to be like, Doug, we want to do this. Can you agree to do this? And he goes, okay.
I believe his words were, I'm going to hate this. Let's do it.
That
man was game. Yeah, man. Good on you, Doug, for being game to do this, and I hope you feel better soon. And you know what? I hope Otakon goes really good for you. I'm pulling for you. But to people who aren't Doug, thank you for listening, and we love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise in the world. Posted us on our socials at We Got a Pod, and email us at wegottapod@gmail.com.
Thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use this track, the Kakarot theme hip hop trap remix. Just as a guy popping into this podcast, it really helps leading into it and fading back out. I love this tune for the show. So thank you again. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me at Detective X on Twitter, though I don't know. Going into election season, I might be privating that account. So we'll see. Maybe you can't find me.
Get in while you can.
Yeah.
Don't find Ken. He's a detective, but you can't find him.
It's true.
He'll find you.
He's now a hermit. So You wouldn't be the turtle hermit. What would you be? Would you be the Deadpool hermit?
Ken
Senin.
Let's not go down that road. Randy, where can people find you?
You can find me at Saber_Breaker. Jake, what about you?
You can find me on the Twittering at JLunar AAS. Just read the thing on the screen. It probably sounds weird for people on the audio, but
Yeah.
JLUNAARS.
There we go.
8-year-old me.
2 A's, important.
Exactly.
So, Jake, thank you again for joining us. This brings us to the end of the episode. Jake, make sure you are telling your friends on the playground about this show and that you are reviewing and subscribing.
Call your mom.
All my friends on the bus, I get to talk about Super Saiyan 5.
Yeah. Boy, oh, man. My uncles at Toei and Shueisha and Capsule Corporation.
Yeah.
Well, as always.
But also, thank you so much also for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely
Our
talk.
pleasure.
This was a great time having you on. And Doug's in trouble now. I don't know. If he misses one more time, who knows? No, I'm just kidding. No. As always, guys, we will catch you matinator.
Bye.